Hello, everybody. It's me again. Yes, I'm still alive. I've returned. And surprisingly enough, I'm making another video within 2 or 3 weeks of my previous one, I think. I'm not good at this timing thing. But, I recently was reminded of something that was, precious to me. Something I had forgotten about years ago. More specifically, someone. Mainly because they basically stopped um, uploading any videos or anything at all, which weirded me out a good bit at the time. But now that they've returned, for one, I have to say thank you to them uh, because without the video they put out, I'll specify more later. I would not be the same person I am today. And in the year 2022, it was one of the two videos that I had watched on New Year's Eve because those two videos had impacted me the most. They had hurt me the most. They had healed me the most. And they made me realize things that really, how do I put this? They held the most weight that year. And one of the other one was So Long Nerds. We all remember that one. Rest in peace, Technoblade. Blood for the Blood God. Skulls for the Skull Throne. Technoblade never dies. But anyways, I digress. The person in question that I am referring to would be Ivory, formerly known as Mithridac, but I insist you not call her that. Alright? She's been very clear that she doesn't want to be called that, so I kindly ask that you don't as well, out of respect for her. And she made a video in 2022 that majorly impacted me, and shortly after that video, she stopped using, well, she stopped putting out videos altogether, and only a few days ago, wait, I think 2 days ago now, she finally put out another video. And, you know, I think it didn't carry the same form of weight. Like, it still carried a lot of weight. But it did something completely different. And it still held that atmosphere of what it means to be brave in the face of a cruel world, in the face of cruel people. And I I feel that even though I may not be in her shoes, I understand some of the sentiments, albeit not all of them. But I'm able to empathize and relate. And Ivory, if you ever see this, for one, thank you for gracing my channel with your presence. You've done quite a bit for me in your video where you finally came out. And that was the video I was referencing earlier. That video where you came out and showed yourself, your true self to the world, that, to me, it gave me a sense of courage that I didn't know I needed at the time. Because during 2022 was my year of recovery. A lot of the wounds of my past trauma were still fresh back then, and I didn't even know it. So when you came out and you shared not only your pain and your strife and your troubles with the world, it hit me, and it really got me to start sorry to start getting the ball rolling on my own self-improvement, because at the time it was just words that I had been saying that I'm going to get better, but you put that out, that actually made me determined to really start getting better. And I'd finally seen what it means to be brave and what it means to stand tall when, by most standards, the world is against you. And like I said, I didn't know I needed that. So genuinely, from the bottom of my heart, thank you for putting out that video and inspiring me and other people like me and like you. I myself, I may not be trans, but I can understand the feeling of not feeling like yourself. Not the who you are doesn't match up with how people see you, and even with how you see yourself in the mirror. And even though our struggles on on fundamental levels may have been different, the pain experienced cannot be understated. And I get it, having family members that do not approve of who you are. Anyways, this whole thing is a bit of a tangent, so let me get to my actual point. When you put out that video just a few days ago, stating that you'll be returning and you'll be putting out your own drama series filmed in Minecraft, that reignited that spark in me, that flame that had dwindled out over the years, finally reignited it. And it's refreshing. It really is, to see someone willing to be brave, willing to be themselves, willing to stand strong. Because nowadays, let's face it, most human beings are cowards. It's sort of instinctual, and the only way we learn how to be brave is by watching others do it, by watching others stand tall. And you have yet again displayed that bravery of yours that I deeply admire. The same bravery that originally inspired me and has reignited my own flame. And thanks to that, I think, I think, well, how do I put this? Bravery, this is a solid fact. Bravery is not fearlessness. To be brave, you have to be afraid. Because bravery is, simply put, like facing your deepest fear. No, it doesn't have to be your deepest fear, but like facing down fear and choosing to stand against it. Choosing not to crawl up into a ball and cry yourself to sleep. No. Choosing to straighten your back, stand tall, and declare your intention and declare your will. Having such willpower and the ability to fight for not only who you are and what you are, but also what you believe in, that takes real, true courage. And even though Dramas are not my thing. I'm sorry to admit I will not be watching White Pine Ivory, because simply is not a genre that I really enjoy, and I feel like the format is overdone for me. I've seen far too many of the same stuff, and while I will not besmirch your quality of writing, the second I see a flaw, it's hard to get it out of my mind. So, forgive me, I will not be watching White Pine. I may in the future, at some point, but I'm anticipating that being way after the fact. But I will still support you in any other form of your content outside of that gladly, happily. And I really hope you are able to maintain that courage. And I feel sorry that you had to deal with the negative parts of the internet, like people trying to dox you and your family, and even though you're not on particularly good terms with your family, there's still blood. And even though I've had my negative experiences with my family, and at this point, blood might as well be water to me, I still acknowledge that it's important to keep those that are close to you, be they approving or not, in safe conditions, and hoping that they'll get better over time. I'm not at the liberty myself to hope that way, but I do hope that you are able to, because that means you have much more optimism than I'm capable of, and that you're able to stand taller than I can. And I think for everyone that watched that video where you came out, and everyone that saw the video you posted a couple days ago where you announced that you would be returning to the content creation sphere and starting to make a new series for yourself, nobody else, but for you. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts, and everyone that you've inspired. Genuinely, thank you. Because, well, without the bravery you displayed, I don't think a lot of us would be here today. At least, not as we are now. And that courage you gave us, well, let's just say I can guarantee you have helped a lot of people. I have had my own struggles through the years, but whenever I think back to that time where you stood tall and you announced to the world who you are, I think of who I can be. And I think there's a lot of other people that have that same thought. I can be this person who inspired me. I can stand tall just as they have. I can be brave. I can be my own form of personal justice in a world full of injustice. I can be kind in a world full of cruelty. It takes bravery. It takes courage. It takes an immense amount of willpower to be kind in a cruel world. Because being cruel in a cruel world is easy. It's cowardly. being kind in a kind world is idealistic. Being cruel in a kind world is tyrannical. But being kind in a cruel world. Wait, did I? Being cruel in a kind world is tyrannical. Yeah, but being kind in a cruel world, that takes so much strength. I cannot illustrate how much that takes. I find trouble capturing that strength, even my own writing. Even when I look in the mirror, I question whether or not I have that strength. As even to this day, I stare daggers at my reflection whenever I feel doubtful of myself. But nonetheless, I digress. You displayed that strength. You showed the willpower and the courage to other people. You proved to other people that there is still kindness in the world, that humanity isn't fucked up just yet, not completely, anyways. That we can still stand tall for not only ourselves but each other and be who we are, be who we want to be who we need to be, and do what we want to do and do what we need to do. Because we need to have this balance. If we do not balance ourselves in our lives, we'll fall apart. And even though I cannot see behind the screen, I cannot see your own personal struggles on a day-to-day basis, or how you even cope with the tragedy of having to go through or having gone through the things you have, or even knowing what those things are. I can still tell you that the pain that you have experienced, you have managed to, in some way, shape, or form, balance it out with your own will, with your own courage, with your own bravery, by being who you are, giving yourself happiness, being willing to give yourself happiness, being willing to stand tall, being willing to be who you are, having that courage. It takes true courage to do that. And most people simply don't have that. Most people are by nature pretty cowardly, because if you haven't experienced true pain, then how can you experience true happiness? And when true pain does come knocking at your door, like, most people's first instinct is to run from it. It takes someone truly exceptional to stand up against it, to muster your might, to muster your will against it, and saying, I'm not going to take shit today. I'm going to be who I am in this moment, and nothing will stop me. I can respect anyone who is able to do that. Simply put, you have earned a great deal of my respect, and that may not mean much to you, a stranger on the internet, but it's something that I feel must be said, if not for your sake or anyone else's sake, then for mine. Because we all have hearts, we all have souls. If we don't express our feelings, the good, the bad, the absolutely horrific and ugly, then he'll just get bottled up and repressed, and it'll fester like infected wound until eventually it'll fill up so much that it bursts out. And that's an inevitability. It'll burst out and it'll be all twisted and ugly, and we'll end up more hurt than when we started. My headphones just died. Sorry for that. But yeah, my point stands. I I honestly wish I made this video a long time ago. And this, in a way, is me making up for that, because I did have a video like this planned. The philosophy of being yourself. And I wanted to do that a while ago, but you managed to inspire me to finally take that step. And even though I may not have covered all the points I've wanted to cover, or said all that I wanted to say, or did all I wanted to do, I believe that in this moment, I've expressed my feelings, my thoughts, the logical, the emotional, and sufficiently. And Ivory, I will once again say, truly, thank you from the bottom of my heart, and on behalf of all those who you've inspired. I could not give you more of my thanks, because, well, people like you are rare, and you have helped show many others who are struggling in the dark, grasping at a light they could not see. You've shown them where to find it, or, if nothing else, how, simply by you standing tall and being brave. I'm getting a little teary-eyed. Thank you. Truly. Now, that'll be all for me. Like, subscribe, turn notifications, and whatnot. I don't care. Do what you want. But that's all from me. Arrivederci, and I'll see you next time.